Today's show is sponsored by ExpressVPN. Working from home, protect your data with an extra layer of security at expressvpn.com/roundup. Welcome to Inside Gaming. I'm Brian. It's weekend roundup time. Well, guys, the sexual harassment scandal at Activision Blizzard has officially reached the very top of the company. We're talking about CEO Bobby Kotick, and an explosive report came out this week, kind of starting to answer the question, what did he know and when did he know it? Now, Kotick is embroiled in a huge controversy after a report from the Wall Street Journal states that he knew about sexual assault allegations at Activision Blizzard years ago. And what's worse, he apparently hid them from the company's board. Now, Activision Blizzard employees are calling for him to step down. After the latest news, there's walkouts. Other giants in the video game industry are criticizing Activision Blizzard. It is not looking great for the company, especially Bobby Kotick, and it sounds like deservedly so. The latest wave in this scandal started earlier this week when the Wall Street Journal published a blockbuster report, to put it mildly, claiming that Kotick knew of allegations of employee sexual misconduct throughout Activision Blizzard for years. That included a rape allegation that a former employee of Sledgehammer Games made against a coworker. The article claims that Kotick, who has led Activision for the last 25 years and is one of the highest paid CEOs in the country, minimized the problem to the company's board, and that is putting it mildly. Kotick also intervened to limit disciplinary action against Treyarch co-head Dan Bunting after he was accused of sexual harassment. Bunting has since left Treyarch. Reportedly, that happened after the Wall Street Journal started investigating the allegations. Oh, and Kotick apparently threatened to kill a subordinate. So it is just a show all around. Now, the article by the Journal is behind a paywall. It is worth a read. It includes internal memos, emails that paint Kotick in a pretty terrible light. Basically, after Activision Blizzard was sued by California regulators over the summer, the report shows that Kotick was focused on damage control rather than fixing the problem. He also reportedly wrote the now infamous email that was sent out by company chief compliance officer Fran Townsend in response to the California lawsuit. You might remember that was the incredibly tone-deaf email response that said the California lawsuit presented a distorted and untrue picture of our company. It went on to say that Townsend was, quote, proud to be a part of a company that takes a hardline approach to inappropriate or hostile work environments and sexual harassment issues. Now, people were furious over that response. Employees walked out. Kotick later apologized for that email, but he neglected to mention that he was the one who wrote it, because you know the saying, the buck stops somewhere else. Apparently, if you're Bobby Kotick. Now, after the Journal started poking around, Kotick clearly panicked. He announced last month that he would cut his salary and promise zero tolerance changes to Activision's harassment policy after the newspaper started inquiring about the rape allegation at Sledgehammer. And the Sledgehammer allegation really highlights how Kotick downplayed extremely serious behavior to the board, while he was also working behind the scenes to sweep it under the rug. According to the Wall Street Journal, a lawyer for the Sledgehammer employee emailed Kotick saying that her client had been raped in 2016 and 2017 by her supervisor at the studio. That allegation was taken to Sledgehammer HR, but nothing happened. After the lawyer emailed Kotick and threatened a lawsuit, Activision quickly settled it out of court. But Kotick didn't tell the Activision board about the allegations or the settlement. So yeah, couldn't look any worse for Kotick, and the story clearly gives the impression that the rot at Activision Blizzard goes right to the top. Or maybe it just started at the top. Who knows? Oh, and Kotick has also been accused of mistreating multiple women who work for the company. He left a voicemail in 2006, threatened to have an assistant killed. An Activision spokeswoman responded that, quote, Mr. Kotick quickly apologized 16 years ago for the obviously hyperbolic and inappropriate voicemail, and he deeply regrets the exaggeration and tone in his voicemail to this day. Meanwhile, Activision Blizzard and Kotick have strongly denied the Journal's report. Kotick posted a video message following the story's publication where he said the article, quote, paints an inaccurate and misleading view of our company, of me personally, and my leadership. He added that anyone who doubts my conviction to be the most welcoming, inclusive workplace doesn't really appreciate how important this is to me. But that response didn't sit well with a lot of people, and it really didn't sit well with at least one big player in the gaming industry, Sony, who criticized Activision Blizzard's response to the Wall Street Journal report. Bloomberg obtained an email from PlayStation boss Jim Ryan, who wrote that he and his leadership were disheartened and frankly stunned to read that Activision has not done enough to address a deep-seated culture of discrimination and harassment. The email went on to say, "We outreached to Activision immediately after the article was published to express our deep concern and to ask how they plan to address the claims made in the article." Ryan wrote, "We do not believe their statements of response properly address the situation." Yikes. Meanwhile, amazingly, the board at Activision Blizzard, despite reportedly being left in the dark about all these allegations, says it is sticking by Kotick. In a statement on Tuesday, they said, "The board remains confident in Bobby Kotick's leadership, commitment, and ability to address the company's long-standing and ongoing issues with harassment and discrimination." But you know who wasn't confident in Activision's leadership or their ability to address long-standing issues of harassment? Jen Oneal. Yeah, remember Jen Oneal? She left her job as co-head of Blizzard after just 3 months recently. Seemed pretty fishy, right? Like there was more going on behind the scenes? Well, that's because there was. The Journal report said that O'Neal's brief tenure atop Blizzard ended because she was extremely pissed off at leadership. You might remember that Oneal, along with Mike Ibarra, took over as co-leaders of Blizzard after J. Allen Brack resigned in the wake of the sexual harassment allegations. But the Journal said they saw emails where Oneal, quote, professed a lack of faith in Activision's leadership to turn the culture around. One email reportedly revealed that Oneal herself had been sexually harassed earlier in her career. Oh, and she was allegedly being paid less than Ibarra despite them both having the same job. She wrote, according to the Journal, "I have been tokenized, marginalized, and discriminated against." Now, in the fallout of the Kotick article, Activision Blizzard employees staged another walkout this week. An employee group called A Better Activision Blizzard King called for Kotick to step down, writing, "We have instituted our own zero tolerance policy. We will not be silenced until Bobby Kotick has been replaced as CEO and continue to hold our original demand for third-party review by an employee-chosen source." But it's not just employees. A group of shareholders have also called for Kotick to go. The group, led by the Strategic Organizing Center, and it represents 4.8 million shares, wrote in a letter to the Activision Blizzard board, "In contrast to past company statements, CEO Bobby Kotick was aware of many incidents of sexual harassment, sexual assault, and gender discrimination at Activision Blizzard, but failed either to ensure that the executives and managers responsible were terminated or to recognize and address the systemic nature of the company's hostile workplace culture." They're also calling for the board's two longest-serving directors, Brian Kelly and Robert Morgado, to retire by the end of the year. SOS Executive Director Dieter Wansneger told the Washington Post, "Activision Blizzard needs a new CEO, board chair, and lead independent director with the expertise, skill set, and conviction to truly change the company's culture. We need to really have a reset button on the board." So yeah, as bad as the scandal gets, it always seems to get even worse. Whether Kotick will survive this remains to be seen. Hard to see how he does, but who knows? We will see. All right, we're gonna get to the rest of the stories in just a second, but first, guys, let's talk more about ExpressVPN. Guys, let me ask you, would you ever run into a gas station and leave your car running with the keys inside? Probably not. That's just basically putting a neon sign saying, "Hey, somebody steal my car." Well, going online without a VPN, pretty much like an invitation to steal your personal data. When you log into an unencrypted network like a coffee shop, you open yourself up to hackers, they can swipe your personal info, sell it on the dark web. That's not good, to say the least, but that's not gonna happen to you because you're gonna get a VPN because you're smart. ExpressVPN creates an encrypted tunnel between your device and the rest of the internet to keep hackers away from your personal details. It would take a hacker 1 billion years with a supercomputer to get past this kind of encryption. I love ExpressVPN just because I like to keep my browsing history and all my activity private from anybody. It's nobody's business but mine. Here's what you got to do, guys. Secure your online data today by visiting expressvpn.com/roundup. That's expressvpn.com/roundup. And you can get an extra 3 months for free. expressvpn.com/roundup. On to the rest of the stories. The nominees are in for this year's Game Awards. So who got the nod for Game of the Year? Well, Deathloop is in there, no surprise, along with Metroid Dread, Psychonauts 2, Resident Evil Village, Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, and a bit of a surprise, the co-op It Takes Two. That's for the best game. Best game direction nominees are Deathloop, It Takes Two, Returnal, Psychonauts 2, and Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart. Best art direction, The Artful Escape, that seems like a natural natural fit for art direction. Kenna Bridge of Spirits, Psychonauts 2, and Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart. Best indie game, 12 Minutes, Death's Door, Inscription, Kenna Bridge of Spirits, and Loop Hero. That was a good game. And best role-playing, Cyberpunk 2077, Monster Hunter Rise, Scarlet Nexus, Shin Megami Tensei 5, and Tales of Arise. Now, that's just a few. There are a million categories. Go check them out at thegameawards.com, and the winners will be announced to a live audience. They're back live with an audience there December 9th at the Microsoft Theater in Los Angeles. So, you probably heard that Halo Infinite's multiplayer had a surprise launch this week. I played a little bit. It was fun. It was a huge success. Hit more than 270,000 concurrent players on Steam within 8 hours. Pretty popular. But the Battle Pass is getting some pushback from gamers, complaining the progression is a bit too slow, with hours and hours required to get past even the early levels. There's also frustration that experience can only be earned through completing specific challenges rather than just playing games. Well, 343 Industries heard the complaints. Community manager Brian Gerard tweeted on Tuesday that the team is looking at Battle Pass progression and gathering data from yesterday's sessions, and will share updates as we have them. Please continue to share feedback and raise flags as you see them. And later in the week, they said that they were going to start making changes to the Battle Pass. Success! Community manager John Juncic tweeted on Wednesday that they would be making some targeted tunings to the Battle Pass. For starters, they're adding play one game challenges to help people progress by just playing games. He added that they'd be adjusting and removing some weekly challenges based on feedback that will involve resetting some people's progress on some weekly challenges, which sucks, but to make up for it, they're granting this week's ultimate reward, the Sigil Mark 7 visor, to everybody who logs in from November 23rd to the 30th, so that's cool. He added they will be doubling the duration of 2 XP boosts to now last an hour as opposed to 30 minutes. He added that this is just the first step and they're committed to continue evolving these systems. The reboot of Saints Row has been delayed after some quality concerns. You might remember that the game was scheduled to release February 25th of next year. Now it is being pushed back all the way to August 23rd of 2022. Volition Chief Creative Officer Jim Boone explained the delay, saying, "The team just needs more time to do our vision justice. We're doing some fine tuning and there won't be much change in the game outside of overall quality and polish." He didn't mention though that the game's trailer had received a lot of fan backlash. Some didn't like the more realistic art directions. Others criticized the character design, which were more cool teen rather than hardened criminals. Some people didn't like that. Boone said they also underestimated the impact that COVID would have on their schedule, saying that due to the size and scope of our new Saints Row, it's become apparent that to create the best game possible, we need to give our team longer to perfect their craft. Probably not a bad idea to move it because February of next year is packed. There's Elden Ring, Horizon Forbidden West, Dying Light 2, the Witch Queen expansion for Destiny 2. So yeah, give the game a little bit more space from the others. NFTs are all the rage these days, but Xbox boss Phil Spencer isn't feeling them, not a fan. In an interview with Axios, Phil criticized NFT games, saying some of them feel exploitive. Now, if you're not familiar, most NFT games involve players being able to buy and sell in-game items and land. They were banned in October by Steam. Phil says he doesn't want that kind of content in the Xbox ecosystem, at least right now. What I'd say today on NFT all up is I think there's a lot of speculation and experimentation that's happening, and that some of the creative I see today feels more exploitive than about entertainment. But he did leave the door open somewhat to them in the future, telling Axios, "I don't think it necessitates that every NFT game is exploitive. I just think we're kind of in that journey of people figuring it out." So there you go. All right, time for a 5-second review. So these are remakes of Diamond and Pearl, which I remember on the DS. Man, the DS was so good. Like, I like the Switch, but something about that OG DS. Now I just want to play the originals again, but the remakes are good too. All right, let's talk about the games coming out next week. First up, Death's Door. Reaping souls of the dead and punching a clock might get monotonous, but it's honest work for a crow. The job gets lively when your assigned soul is stolen and you must track down a desperate thief to a realm untouched by death where creatures grow far past their expiration date. It comes to PS5 and the PS4 November 23rd. The Final Fantasy XIV Endwalker expansion. It's the newest expansion to Final Fantasy XIV. It's got new jobs, Sage and Reaper. There's a new playable race, Mayo Vieira. Level cap increases from 80 to 90. There's new cities. You can travel to new areas, including Labyrinthos, Tavnar, Garlemard, and Mare Lamentorium. There's also new dungeons and a new high difficulty raid, Pandemonium. Comes to PC, PS5, and the PS4, November 23rd. Tunnel of Doom is an action roguelite hybrid that mixes tower defense with melee and ranged combat gameplay. Randomly generated, every run is different as you guide Angel on a quest to rescue her husband. Gather resources, discover perks, and use what you find to battle waves of monsters. Comes to PC, November 23rd. Cricket 22, the official game of the Ashes. Cricket 22 delivers the most robust, substantial game of cricket that fans have ever seen. Enjoy the fully licensed Ashes contest, the pinnacle of the long-standing rivalry between Australia and England. In addition, contest Australia's Big Bash T20 competition, the hugely innovative The 100 in England, the tropical party of the CPL in the Caribbean, and take to the international field of battle with fully licensed team from Australia, England, the West Indies, New Zealand, and Ireland. It comes to PC, PS5, Xbox Series X, PS4, and Xbox One, November 25th. Last up, Lynn's Island. Build, fight, farm, and explore. Experience your own path. Whether it's building the home of your dreams, tending to your crops, or watching the sun go down, or exploring the mysteries of the island and the darkness beneath, you may want to take a sword with you, however. It comes to PC, November 26th. That's all the news I got for you this week, guys. I hope you're having a great weekend. Happy Thanksgiving to those who celebrate. We'll see you soon.